what's up, man?
What's going on, man? How's it going?
It's going really well. It's awesome. I just landed in LA a couple days ago, and
Okay.
I'm spending my summer here, and then I go back to Boulder. But I just spent the past month in Zurich, which was really fun, and it was great to hang out with the childhood friends, especially like year after college, first year of college. So it was a great month, and yeah, I'm excited to see what the summer holds. So.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because you've traveled around so much, growing up and whatnot. As you go from place to place and make new friends, does art become a language for you? Like when you land in a new spot and you're meeting new people, is that a way for you to kind of integrate yourself or socialize?
Um, well, this last month, it was funny because I was hanging out with my friends so much. I really didn't have that much time to work on art. And I'm excited because now I'm in LA and I'm actually interning under the artist Hebrew Brantley. And so I'm fully in the art mode now, which is awesome. But during this last time in Zurich, I did a mural, which that was like my one, because even though I would literally did the bare minimum of planning um, the mural ended up being a major success. And it was awesome because all my friends get to come and hang out while I do the mural, and then we do a photo shoot after for the brand. So that's like some of my favorite days are those days. Like those are the best. But yeah, man.
And what was the inspiration for the mural?
Um, well, I try to do a mural as often as I can, and at this point I'm doing one about 4 times a year. It's hard to find new inspiration all the time, but I'm always trying to connect my brand, but also connect my art and kind of tell a story a little bit. And it's also, I like to hide a lot of little Easter eggs and references. So if you know where I'm coming from, you can resonate that much more with the art. And sometimes, you walk past and you just see a Ninja Turtle and you're like, hey, I love the Ninja Turtles, or I don't even know what that is, but that just looks cool. And to me, like I love to like Ninja Turtles growing up, that's my favorite comic. And then I had Neymar in the mural, and I was thinking it's World Cup. Who embodies the World Cup better than Neymar in 2014? That even though it's a 2026 World Cup, I want to give my World Cup player, I want to give it from the specific year, the specific jersey, the specific haircut. It's all very intentional for me. And then yeah, I mean, I love to put skylines in my mural. That's a very like consistent theme with my work. And I think it's great because it really grounds the piece. It gives it a time and place. It creates a whole scenery. It's not just this is a random little combination of things, but I think the city really grounds it. And yeah, I mean, this last mural I was very proud of. And it's funny because I really tried something different than I usually do. My graffiti as I've like gotten better at graffiti, I've really made it kind of less legible. And I personally like that, but you want to find a balance. And with this last mural, I just made NVM very prominent. That was the whole thing. It's NVM. I feel like you don't have to be able to read graffiti to see the NVM, and that was the point, is I wanted it to stick with people. I wanted people to see it and be like, "Oh, okay, I see it. It's NVM." I just want that word to get familiar with you, you know?
And now NVM is your brand for folks who are listening who don't know. Can you tell me a little bit about that and how it started?
Yeah, so NVMNOV is the my clothing brand. This started back in 2023 when I was a junior in high school. And pretty much me and my friends, we conceptualized it together. We were all born in November. And we were thinking, I was very inspired by like ASAP Rocky, ASAP Mob, ASAP Bari, ASAP Yams. I can go on lots of ASAPs, but pretty much ASAP, everyone knows it. It sticks with you. It's as soon as possible. but it's also always strive and prosper. So that double meaning, I really love that double meaning. I thought like, wow, like that's cool. And so at first we were trying to figure out what to do, but we were thinking, OVO, October's Very Own, that's Drake's brand. I'm like, we can do NVM, that's November. That's November's Vicious Mob right there. And we were just like brainstorming what could NVM mean. And right now it has a lot of meanings, but there's not really one meaning. It's not always strive and prosper. It's NVM can mean a lot of things like new voices matter. There's lots of things. And then while I was sketching the logo, I did the NVM NOV because at the time we hadn't settled on just NVM. And as you can imagine, it's pretty hard to trademark NVM or make an LLC for NVM. So of course it became Nevermind November, and then we were like, you know what, like that's pretty cool. Like we can do that. Like there's a lot of ways you can interpret Nevermind November. It's like, we're we're the underdogs or never mind, but hey, we're coming, there's a lot of things that it can mean. So I like that. I love our logo. That I created in 11th grade, and I've really been NVM has kind of just been like a project where I'm really trying to insert my voice into the cultural zeitgeist. Like I've grown up studying Supreme, Bape, Stussy, Union, Undefeated, all these brands, and I'm very inspired. And I think I have something to say. I think I love my art. I feel like the art that I'm making is the stuff that I really want to see in the world. Again, with the Neymar and the Ninja Turtles, like I'm just trying to do stuff that I love, connect with people, and yeah, the brand it's really about community and culture. So
Yeah,
that's that. And well, pretty much this was just an independent project, really. This was honestly a creative outlet for the first 2 years because, I'm in high school in Switzerland. My circle is like the 500 people in my school that speak English. It's not the whole city. It's not ever expansive. But then, of course, I moved to the US for college, not even thinking about NVM. I'm thinking I'm just going to be an artist. I don't even, NVM is in the very back of my mind. And then I'm wearing a shirt on college campus, and people go, hey, like that shirt is sick. Like, where can I get that? And I'm like, okay, so maybe I have something here. And then I was like, why not? Like, it's a way to expand my artist platform. And someone told me this summer when I really like committed to like trying to be an artist. At first it was my idea was, I want to be a Nike designer. That's my goal. Like I want to design a Jordan. Like that I saw as the ceiling of what I could do as an artist or designer. But now, this last summer, I did the same internship with Hebrew Brantley, and I really saw that, he's a artist. He's his own boss. He works on graphic novels. He's working on gin brands. He's working on clothing collaborations. He's doing murals. He's doing exhibitions. Like I was like, wow, like that you can really do that. Like that's there. And I never really had posted on social media before then, but his studio manager had told me, no one can love your art if they don't see your art. You gotta put yourself out there. And that was like, wow, okay. And so that I kind of applied to the NVM stuff. And so really what I did is I just ordered 50 shirts to my dorm and I just sold them to my friends. I, have a couple friends over and it's like, hey, by the way, I'm working on this new project. Like I don't want to, I hate asking people to buy stuff. That's always so hard, but I give them the biggest discount. I was selling the shirts for like 15, really just covering the base. So I wasn't making money, but I was just trying to make it back so I could do another order. And then it kept growing. I kept selling out, and then now I think I've sold over like 300 shirts last year in person, which was great. And yeah, like a couple online as well. So that's been fun.
that's huge. Yeah, I know it's interesting because I know you from your character work. When I very first
Yeah.
met you when you were super young, and I saw you were so into it and so passionate to create. So I commissioned you for those 4 pieces of art that you did for me, the Wolverines and the Ninja Turtles, and I'm gonna clip those into this video later. But
Yeah.
I think that, as I watch you grow and watch you develop, like you have a lot of support from your family too. Like when do you recall that creativity really fostering in you, when you were younger?
Yeah. I mean, since I've been young, I've been drawing. Ever since preschool, I was drawing all the time. And it's funny because I feel like I was young and then I really got a lot better really quickly. And by the time I was like in kindergarten, I was doing some pretty good art. And I think my parents really they supported me from the beginning. I mean, we had my aunt, Taryn Silverstein, is an amazing artist who has had a successful career in the art industry. And my Uncle Matt Pashko, is a graphic designer he's also very successful. And so my parents really weren't the discouraged by me being into the arts. They weren't ever trying to push me into something I didn't want to do. They really encouraged my passion and pushed me to do it as much as I could. And they signed me up for art classes all the time. And it didn't burn me out whatsoever. I loved it. I was cruising. I really just loved to do art. I loved to draw the Ninja Turtles. I loved to paint. I loved to learn. I loved comics. That was really type of art growing up. And it's funny, then we moved to Switzerland. And before we moved to Switzerland, I was taking art all the time. I loved art. And right before we moved, I got really into soccer. It was like 2016. And when I moved, I actually, because you're a new kid in a new country. Before I was the art kid, and I was always friends with the sporty kids, but I didn't for some reason I thought, hey, I'm gonna just pretend I suck at art when I come to Switzerland, and that way I guess I'll fit in better or something. Like I want to be one of the soccer kids. I don't want to be the art kid and the soccer kid. I was young. I was in fourth grade. I really was moving to a new country, new continent, new culture. I just kind of wanted I don't know, a fresh start. And I remember you're taking art class and I was just pretending to be terrible, like drawing stick figures and everything. And after a couple months, I was tired of pretending to suck, and I eventually rediscovered that love and learned that it's okay to be good at multiple things, and you're not gonna be alienated just because you do art. And I learned that it's a cool thing. All my friends were so supportive and like, wow, like you're so talented. And I was like, wow, like okay, this is something cool. It's I remember my art teacher was like, kids would be like, "You're so good," and I'd be like, "No, it's really not." And they'd be like, "You can't be saying that because they actually you're discouraging them by saying that." And then, so yeah, that was growing up right there.
And
Gotta.
then,
I'm
yeah,
glad
and your confidence must grow too, like because you didn't at some point you went from just creating to actually, exhibiting your work in murals and stuff like that. When you were going through that transition in Switzerland, you came from a major pop culture love. Did they have that same pop culture there in Switzerland? Like, did people recognize some of the characters that you were doing?
Yeah, I think graffiti, European graffiti culture and the Zurich graffiti culture are some of the most impressive and inspiring things I think I've ever immersed myself in. And around, you know me and my family, we love hip hop. And now hip hop has multiple elements, and some of those elements, DJing, MCing, knowledge, fashion, language, and then there's breaking and graffiti. And graffiti is like the art sector of hip hop. And it was like a point, I think it might have been like eighth grade or something. I was like, I love hip hop, why not try and get better at graffiti? That's a great skill. I love to, it's art. why not give it my shot? And I mean, I started as someone who's good at art. I feel like my graffiti was very bottom tier when I first started, but the repetition, the drawing in your notebook in class, the practicing, I really like developed over the past 5, 6 years. And I'm at a part where I'm very proud of my work and I have a long way to go. Very long way to go. But that's the cool thing about graffiti is like your work can develop. It has a room to develop. You can try out, there's a million different styles. It's not like I'm ever following a formula when I'm making my work. It's really just letting it flow. And I've gotten a little bit more structured, but initially I had no structure when I did graffiti. And yeah, I mean, in Zurich, it was great because when I expressed to my dad, hey, I would like to try to do some graffiti, I've been practicing in my notebook. He, of course, there's a class and there's so many legal walls in Switzerland where a legal wall is actually what it sounds like. It means that anyone can paint on this wall any time of day, anytime they want. They need to check in with no one. They need no permission, but it's a legal wall. It's for the community. And of course, there are rules with that, but there are community rules with that. There's no legal rules. And that was awesome because I took a class with these local graffiti artists who taught me that the basic rules, they told me, you can never cover over a memorial. You can never cover anything that you can't do better than. If you do cover anything, you need to cover it fully because that's a sign of respect. Because if I were to, blotch over your thing or just tag over it, that's considered very disrespectful. I need to leave no trace of what I'm covering when I cover. And so that was, very important to learn that, especially when you don't want to come in and break all the rules and learn the hard way. You want to really learn from the people and do it the right way. And especially like I'm a very privileged, very lucky person, and I have like pretty much everything I need. And it's just for me, like doing graffiti illegally is more puts me more at risk because like I'm going to college. I've got my whole life ahead of me, and I definitely like I've tagged before and I would love to tag again, like really get up and really try and get up everywhere. But the thing is I'm really not in a place where that's smart right now with all the things I have going on. And, I'm there's no need for me. I have the legal wall. I have the ability to make my mural whenever I need to make my mural. So that's where I'm at right now. And I think Switzerland was a great place to be that like fostered it and really taught me the rules. You can pick up on a lot of things. And FCZ is the soccer team, the football club, and they are a graffiti mafia. They literally have FCZ tagged all over the city. And what's cool about that is, I mean, Switzerland has so much graffiti that they have great systems in place to control it. I mean, not that they control it that much, but if you get caught, pretty much, let's just say I tagged 15 times before and I tagged all over the city, and then I get caught on my 16th time, they're not just going to catch you for that one time. They're going to fine you for all that time and put that into your, whatever your sentencing is or however they work that out. And so it's definitely like you can do it, but there's a risk. Like it's serious. They really have their good system about that. And so FCZ is like a safety net because everyone tags FCZ. And so if you get caught tagging FCZ, there's no, there's so many FCZ tags they can't get you for all that. Like, and it's funny, I had kids in my school who like were FCZ taggers and they didn't even know anything about graffiti. They didn't write graffiti. They just had a big like graffiti marker and would just write on bathroom stalls, write wherever. And I mean, graffiti, one thing about it is the whole point is to get up. Or that's the original point. There's obviously the artistic side, but it's you want to get up. You want your name to be, you want to get your name out there. And FCZ is yeah, that FCZ is a major inspiration for me. So
Well, I think it's interesting because earlier in our conversation, you were talking about your new mentor pushing you to post and get your art out there and whatnot. So that's digital, but you had to cross a threshold where you were okay with posting in a city. Like and like putting
yeah.
your artwork on a wall, it's like very different than putting it onto a social media page where it just
Mhm.
electronically goes away somewhere. Like there had to be a
Yeah.
certain confidence level to be able to get it onto a wall and be like, all right, that's cool. And still a ton of people are going to see it. And like as far as building your name and your brand and things like that, and having, the understanding that there's a bigger runway for you than somebody passing by a coffee shop and seeing your name on the wall. Like you want them to pass by and see your face on a flyer for an exhibit that's coming up, and there's a trade-off there too, for it. So I think that takes a lot of bravery to become a self icon in a responsible way, because that anybody can become self-iconic in an unhealthy way, and then it throws away everything you worked hard towards all those years and everything. So
Yeah.
now when from your time in Zurich, you left when you graduated from high school there and then came to
Yeah.
Colorado for college.
Yeah. See you, Boulder.
Yeah, and what are you studying there?
I'm studying art and business.
Nice.
So that's very exciting. Yeah.
When you're being discovered, what do you want in your head, unless it doesn't matter, what do you want someone to find you first, through your clothing brand or through one of your pieces of art?
Well, that's funny because I went to South by Southwest this I think April or yeah. And it's funny because I show kids my age, they see the brand and they are attracted to the brand. That's what they like. But at South by Southwest, there's a lot of kids with the clothing brand, that's I try to set myself apart, but it's a little hard to tell when you're new, or for example, when you're not constantly seeing it. And for me, the art was what got people. They say, "Oh, I love your art." And that was what I needed to lead with. Honestly, I just brought my sketchbook out. That's how I was networking. I just had my sketchbook. I'd be like, "Yeah, like this is my art. Like I'd love to do some art for you." And then they're like, "Whoa, like that's awesome. Like, yeah, like that definitely like let me know." And yeah, so that's pretty much it changes. I think my art is more universal than my brand. I think my brand is like appealing to my specific niches and my like, I'm definitely I think it can be there's a lot of clothing brands. And the thing is clothing brands are cool, but they are trying to sell you stuff at the end of the day. And I try to position myself as an artist and it's art. I don't love I told you I hate to ask people to buy stuff from me, which is funny because that's I mean that's the brand. And I've learned how to like sell stuff and I've learned how to make it more like organic. And I've been pretty successful at that. But it's very hard for me to like ask. Like I hate ads. Like I'm very critical of the media I consume. And oh my gosh, when I tell you like the ads piss me off. I don't like the ads. I don't love the I think a little bit coming from Europe to the US where you're not really used to it as much. And then here it's just everywhere and it's persistent and I you just gotta wait to skip that ad. I'm pressing the whole time and
I do that all the time too. And Helena, she's in marketing and she's like, well, I like to watch the ads because I want to see how other people are targeting other people. And
mhm,
I get that too. And that might be something that you think about as and it's not that you're targeting people, but as far as when your brand gets into the public eye, when you grow out of a small t-shirt, you move to a medium. As you're growing up, your style's going to change, and the people that are drawn to you that might follow you as you get older. As
yeah.
your art changes and your perceptions changes, that clothing line might change, or disappear. Like, it sounds like it though that you're very connected with your art. Like, Do you also feel connected, so connected to something that you wouldn't be able to let it go if you had to move on to something else?
Um, do I feel so connected that I wouldn't be able to move on?
Yeah, like if you ever had to just be like, I have to close the clothing business, because I'm gonna go full time and doing the art or whatever that is. Like,
Yeah.
is there a strong connection to you there?
Yeah. I think, I mean, NVM is me, and NVM will always be a part of me. What I'm thinking when I think about this is because I have thought like, will NVM be forever? Will this just be one of my brands? Will this be my all-time brand? Like, how is it gonna be? But it's funny, I actually had a brand before NVM called Trippy Row that I made in seventh grade during COVID, and that was very like experimental, just like me trying and playing with, seeing what I can do, just being inspired and trying to make cool clothes. But I think of Virgil Abloh, um, very iconic artist who I'm very inspired by, one of probably my biggest inspiration, if not one of them. And he is a guy who's had a ton of clothing brands, and one of his most iconic was the Pyrex Vision, which preceded Off-White. And with Pyrex Vision, he was basically making a statement about I don't know how let me just explain. Well, he had 23, which was to symbolize like Michael Jordan and basketball, and then it's Pyrex, which was supposed to symbolize like you cook crack with the Pyrex stuff. So it's like pretty much, he's using Pyrex. It's a trademark name, but the Pyrex Vision, Pyrex 23, that was his brand, and did that for a year. It was like basically a mock clothing brand. Like it was totally an experiment. He gave out clothes to like all his celebrity friends, and that's how it got very prominent and it got a cult following quickly. But it's very rare. It's very, he's getting like $30 champion blanks and selling them for 500.
Yeah.
And some people think it's a scam, and some people understand where, well, what he's doing. And the thing is he's kind of is saying like, fuck you, I don't want you to buy it a little bit, because that's the point. It's supposed to be exclusive. It's supposed to be if you know, you know. And that I've definitely taken a lot of hints for with NVM, and not trying to appeal to everyone. I want it if you understand, if you like it, if you can, feel where I'm coming from, like that's where I want you to. So that's the thing again with like the ad, it's like I'm not trying to appeal to everyone. I'm trying to build build my community. So
Do you,
that's
do you think that you're maybe it's happening now with this artist that you're interning underneath? Um, what's the next level for your art? Is it going to move into an exhibition space? You often use characters and words in very large installations. Are you going to tie in more emotion into those things beyond the making of the character, whether it's kind of making your own characters or starting to tell a little bit more about your story or the things that you've seen?
yeah. Well, I mean, I've really only painted like in the past 2 years, like literal like painting, like acrylics or oil, like twice, maybe
Yeah.
three times. And I'm definitely still finding my voice and what I want to say. Right now, I'm focused on like perfecting like I like to make stuff that just I think like looks cool. Like I like to make the art that I want to see. Like I want to I'm really like I love watercolor, so I use a lot of watercolor in my work. And right now my sketchbook, I've been making these pieces that are like here I mean I know you have the thing on screen and you can just but I have this little sketchbook, and like this was the plan for my mural
Cool.
right here. And that's how this is a flyer I made.
Cool.
And so there's a lot of um here's a cool one. But like this, like I'd love to blow this up and make this a major piece.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing that I'd love to do. Um but I haven't had a studio space really. I haven't really had canvases at my disposal. I haven't had the resources. One thing it's funny about college is I thought, you're coming in, you're gonna have all these great resources you have access to, but you actually got to buy them before you use them. So it's not the school giving you that, even though you pay that
Uh,
crazy tuition. So,
yeah, for you, like
um,
when I look at your work, I thought it'd be really cool, like a custom cut canvas or
yeah,
wood. Like if you like that blueprint that you just showed for your mural, a gallery would look really cool if you had your design and then had a wood cutting made in very large format. So you're not really graffitiing the wall, but anybody could
yeah,
take that graffiti and put it on any wall, and then it's
yeah.
like transportable. I thought that this morning when I was thinking about you, I'm like, that's kind of like a cool next level exhibit, or turning it into a neon light or something, crazy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the canvases behind you. I remember being in your studio, like
Yeah.
that. Those are just awesome. Like I love that. Like I can't imagine like one day I'm gonna have that like I want to have that like studio, want to have that space, want to have that room to create, and
You got to
I'm
raise your price.
excited.
You got to raise your prices to 500 a t-shirt, maybe.
Yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah.
Well, you said it. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You have the foundation of what you just said it a couple minutes ago. You said I want to create the art that I love to look at, and it'll eventually grow from the sketchbook to wherever it is. But as long as you're doing that, it doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're creating, because you're only creating out of love. And
Yeah.
then it can blow up onto a little thing. But ironically, I've been painting little things. I've been
Hmm.
doing like small sketch cards lately, and I was trying to get you on a couple of those actually, but we
Yeah,
should talk.
we got to connect on that,
Yeah, so
definitely.
we'll hit that. It's a perfect timing actually. So I'm trying to force my mind into getting into details and little and out of my comfort zone, normally. And through these interviews, I've met people all over the world who are incredible mastercraft at creating these cards, and I'm like learning from them and listening and critiquing. Taking what they're doing on the small card, and I'm trying to apply that to the large format too. Like I realize that a lot of my art is flat. Like I don't think about lighting the way I should be thinking about lighting and developing. I sculpt with texture, but I never sculpt with technique. And I never create light with technique, So inherently the art's coming off the canvas, but how can I do that flat? Do you look at your graffiti like that from when you were like creating when you were younger to what changes make it so special now?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a growth. There's so much growth, and it's sometimes you're just playing around with stuff and you're like, I'm doing that for the rest, every single letter I'm doing that. And yeah, no, it's definitely it's great. I mean, that's one thing that's so cool about art is there is no prime necessarily. You can always keep getting better. And I honestly feel like the more I do art, the more I'm getting better. Like right now, like my classes at Boulder, not to I'm taking general art classes. Anyone can take it. It's non-specific to the major. But that's what I have to do to get into the major to take the harder classes. But I haven't like I've been challenged, but I haven't really been challenged. In terms of like I'm not creating like crazy art that I'm super proud of. They're more like little projects to checklist. It's like work in the metal shop, check. Work in the wood shop, check. And of course, I've created art that I love in the metal shop and not really in the wood shop. But it's I just feel like the more I'm learning, the more I'm working on my craft, I am getting better, even if it's subconsciously. And that's why I think like I mean, I just love art. It's great. It's always fun to come back because sometimes you don't do art for a month and you come back and it's like, wow, I forgot how fun this is. I forgot how I had this in my bag. I forgot about this. So that's always
Do you ever
fun.
think like when you're in this basic class that the challenge isn't the art? Do you ever feel because of all the experience that you have, one of the challenges might be sharing that with somebody else and helping lifting somebody else up and helping them grow?
Yeah. I think I mean the critiques have been awesome. They've been very fun and it's cool to have people voice their opinion on your work and voice your opinion on their work and you know, It's a great like ecosystem. I made a lot of friends in my art class. I've made a lot of friends who are artists, and I mean, I'm in Switzerland. My friends, like I have a lot of creative friends, but I don't have a lot of friends who are artists. They are creative in their own ways, but they wouldn't call themselves artists. They wouldn't formally, they're into art. They love music, but they're not an artist really. But I've actually been fortunate to have like I mean, I made a ton of friends at Boulder, and some of my friends, we do an art night. And it's that, I mean, these guys are so talented and girls, and it's so fun to work with them. And it's funny because, like, ceramics as a medium, this might sound naive, but ceramics, like, I didn't even really, I hadn't fully grasped that as like really being its own thing. And then now I have like 3 or 4 friends who are ceramics majors, and it's so cool, and it's just a totally different type of art. And I mean, it's cool because you can learn so much, like the 3D forms and the 2D forms and the digital. You can learn, you're always learning. And even music. I took a music class in high school, and I loved that class, and it really pushed me. And I'm very proud of all the work I made. And I think it's just the artist's brain can really bridge a lot of gaps. And I mean, being creative is a superpower for sure, and we all have it. We just all gotta work on it, work on bringing it out. So,
Yeah, I keep instruments in the
yeah,
studio just for like moments where I don't want to paint, but I want to flow and like figure out how I'm gonna like spark it back up again and get up and moving and get the brushes colored up again and get going. And process is important. You're around a lot of creative people right now and a lot of artists. How do you ground yourself when you need to when you have to reset?
like reset, like, oh, what do you mean?
Yeah,
Like
'cause
just a lot, like I need a new
for me,
beats or
like
something?
it might be over and I've got like a kid and a wife and everything now, so this thing when I come down here, that's like where this is like my, creative spot. But every now and then I have to like kind of just ground myself. I use fitness, or
Yeah,
nature and things like that just to kind of like cleanse and reset and then come back with a fresh mind when you're constantly surrounded by so much dynamic, creative, artistic people. It could become a lot too. Like you can't go 100 miles an hour the whole time, like
yeah,
so how do you ground and then receive again?
yeah. So that, I mean, that's the perfect question. I didn't fully grasp it at first, but I run every day. So I run pretty much. My like average amount I run is around 8 miles, and then sometimes I end up doing 6 miles, as or like even I never really do less than 4 miles, but I'd have like lower days, and then I have days where I go more. And I actually just ran a marathon this summer, which was awesome. But
Awesome.
my runs are like, I can't tell you how valuable my runs are to my creative process and just grounding myself in general, because I mean, I'm in college. I need to talk to my family. My family's in Switzerland, and when I go on my morning runs, I call them, because I don't love to, I mean, I don't not like to run with other people, but it's just I don't love to coordinate a time and have to be, I love to just run when I can run, and run the entire time. I don't want to wait for someone. I don't want someone to wait for me. I just like the freedom of running. And so, I pick out an album, I pick out a podcast, I call my family, and I call my mom and dad, and those are like, I mean, even my grandparents, I call all of them. I call my brother, and it's great because, I talk a lot during my runs, and I almost like make my own to-do list. And I mean, I have my own to-do list like for everything. Like I need to be organized. I need to know what I'm working on, and I love like, I love being productive. That I love that. And running is very productive because I get my full hour of exercise in. I'm running for the whole hour. I'm not stopping. I can push myself as hard as I need to push myself. So it's awesome. And then I call my family, I organize my thoughts, and usually I get back out of that shower and I'm ready. I'm like, let's move the next part of the day. And It's awesome. I mean, I've called my family, I think the most I've called any them this year or in the my whole life. And it's nice because now I got the time for it, and it's funny because in Switzerland the time zone is different. So if I'm calling them on my run, it's probably late at night here, or there it's like 2 a.m.
Right.
But then if I call them on my run there, then everyone's awake. It's like at 5 p.m. there. So it's pretty perfect,
That's
to be
perfect.
honest.
Yeah. I think it's important, I guess just my own personal experience is that as we grow up and we're pushing in our craft and trying to get better and on the grind, and we have this desire to be known or be famous and be successful, that it's important to always still be successful and known to the ones that got you there, and it starts with the family, right? And like, so for me, like, I'll bypass an opportunity if it means I get to hang out with my wife and son or not miss something, just because that's
Definitely.
where I want to be, and you'll always have your what's the definition of success or fame and things like that, and as you go through life, and that'll constantly change, but I always try and keep that into my perspective, um, with, everything costs something, forget the money
Definitely.
for the canvases, but other things cost something that you can't get back. And I try and keep that in mind when I'm going through.
Yeah, definitely. And nothing is free. I'm always saying that. But I mean, yeah, no, it's
So what's coming up next for you? What are you excited about? You just ran a marathon this summer. It's pretty awesome, man. Congrats on that.
thank
And
you.
what do you hope to get out of this internship under this mentor?
Yeah, my real goal is just to I'm excited to get back into the art mindset. Last year I was very coming out of college or coming out of high school and going into college. Um, art really was it was there, but this internship really got me in that headspace where I'm like, I'm an artist. I want to be an artist, and I have a 4 year head start where I don't have to worry about money really. I got pretty much everything taken care of me. I'm in college. I can side hustle as much as I need to build my artist platform and to make it so when I graduate, I'm already there in terms of as an artist, and that's my goal. Um, I mean, with this internship, I'm excited to help them out. I'm excited to work with pressure. One thing that I love about NVM is I've always said like this current year and at least where I'm at right now, like I am the mood board for my future self. I have no obligations. I'm copywriting everything. You know what I mean? Like I'm not getting, no one's coming for me. I'm total freedom. I'm a small artist with no pressure who can do whatever they want. And that's the dream. And of course, as it gets bigger, that's obviously the image that all these brands try to keep, but they really do get more corporate. And I don't want that to necessarily happen to my work, and I'm glad I'm the one who's in control so I can control that. But that's how I feel is I'm like I'm trying to grow like organically. I'm trying to, I don't want to yeah, sorry, I got a little lost there.
No, I love it,
Um,
man. I think that's
yeah.
great, and there's something to be said about that, to not having the pressure of outside things, like creating for you
Yeah,
always leads to great creations, because
definitely.
at the end of the day, you get it up, you ship it, set it up and ship it out, and it's like you can just be so happy with, the experience. And part of this world is, like you said, critique and how people are going to receive it, and some might be blown away and love it and emotional, and some might scoff, and sometimes out of jealousy, sometimes these things foster and can brood too. And I interviewed this one great artist, Angel Avile, and he said, when you see an artist doing something that you wish you could do, there is a way of going about it without trying to drag that artist down in order to lift yourself up. He's like,
Definitely.
it's about picking yourself up to get to the level of that artist, and like being appreciative that they took it to the next level to try and get you there. So I've been really mindful of that, like listening to his words, that that was just a because you could spend all day long on Instagram and see art that's being made out there that's like, oh my God, that is so sick. Like, what am I even doing? Like, I'm never gonna get there.
Definitely.
And but you can't. You got to make for you, and then in doing that, you make for the world.
Definitely. I think, yeah, I mean, that's what it's got to be. You just got to make your own art and create your, because I mean, that's one thing is like I learned really a lot over my internship is like th this art like there's a lot of talented artists and there are so many artists that are way more talented than I could ever dream of being, but that's that's not important to focus on. It's just about, there are some artists who are making like very simple things that you could be like, I could totally make that, and yet they're connecting with so many people and it's very impactful. I mean, like Keith Haring, for example, like it's not like his work is the most intricate, but he has a message and he connects to people. And yeah, I mean, I'm definitely just trying to create for me, create the art that I want to see. I think it's really about the feeling that your art creates, and my art, I'm just trying to connect things. Like I'm very into all my passions. I'm a very dedicated Clipper fan and Steeler fan. I'm a very dedicated to the rappers I follow. I go to their concerts. It's been very fun. I'm very into what I'm into. And so to be able to reference that, and I think really like having a great like reference bag is can do like a number of things. And one thing I wanted to say is I know you basically said it, but steal like an artist. And I mean that's how I work is it's like, for example, the 1984 Ninja Turtles are my favorite Ninja Turtles. So that's the one I'm taking. And I'm not taking all the Ninja Turtles. I'm not doing the multicolor headbands. I'm not doing that. I'm not on the ones with pupils. I like those ones, the ones that are stabbing people and looking all cool and shit. Not that I, like the violence necessarily, but I just think it's cool. It has that coolness to me. It appeals to me. And it's like, there are certain Spider-Man, like for example, Miles Morales. He's super cool. And then, you go to the comics. It's just like the more you can find what you like I like to, steal imagine, the Spider-Man with the eye where it's like really big. Like that's what I'm looking for. Like I'm looking, how can I make it the one that I like the most? For example, the Joker, um, that comic or the cartoon Joker. Like that's the one I use. I don't use the Ledger Joker. I'm not using all the Jokers. I'm going for like the specific animated cartoon Joker from back in the day. And I think that's like, at first it's like people, it's like you're stealing, but really like I'm giving them the platform. I view it as like I'm shouting them out on my platform. Like I'm not taking it down, I'm lifting it up by me giving it my platform. I'm saying I like this. If you understand, then like, it sucks. I mean, it's nice that I'm at the point where I'm at where I don't need to like tag everyone and like make it super obvious and make it an official collaboration, but I can just really just pull stuff. And I think that, that's like it's artistically like it's very lucky to be in that position, and
Yeah,
I love just having that freedom.
yeah, fan art is really important. I mean, because as a kid, that's what I was like tracing characters and trying to draw them, and then there's the ones that resonate with you. Like you said, I spent all weekend with this group Mental Con, and I got to meet so many artists, and they were raising money for a great cause. And everyone they were collectors, and they all had their own specific thing. They were showing off their private collection, like what their private collection stuff looked like, and it brought them so much joy to have those possessions and to have that art and have uh you know it made me realize that it's not about being the best in a community. It's just about being part of that community, and there's different places there.
Yeah.
So it's like just because someone's making crocheted kitty cats, they
Yeah.
belong in the community too, and I'm painting giant 6 foot Spider-Mans, but like all that, it's the one place that no matter what other walks of life you might have going on, you're still should be welcomed into that place as a creative, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we got to look out for each other. I mean, especially in like, I mean, I don't want to say, but the age of AI, like it's funny because I mean, AI is like, it's very complicated, it's very nuanced, but personally for me, I see like AI art as I understand like some are small businesses with small budgets, but it's honestly it for me it just like it takes away a lot, especially when it's poorly done and I can't tell. But I'm very critical of all the media I consume, and I'm always trying to spot if it's AI because I want to, devote my, it's the attention economy. I want to devote my attention to real artists, and I know, yeah, I mean it's important. I think like the errors, the human error, the texture, the mistakes, the that is really what's important. And I think especially art, like real art, like just creation and expression is so valuable. And I think AI is just showing us how valuable it really is because, there's as much as people love AI and it's big, there's a big rebellion, especially artistically. Like it shows you like it's making that in-person exhibit that more you need to go in person to see it. My sketchbook, it does not look that good on Instagram, but in person, that's that's my world right there. Like I want people to just feel the work. And it's definitely important. I think like authenticity and everything being like that and having the texture and the human mistakes are like it's very important and it's cool. And I think AI almost gives us the voice for it even more. It's like, yeah, like this is what you like, this is human. Like we want human, we want to connect.
Yeah, it is us. All that stuff is us. And well, I can tell you one thing, man. I'm so proud of you. I got the privilege of knowing you for a long time and watching this journey happen and just keep being yourself and keep creating the way that you are and spreading that to others. And I know only great things will happen no matter what you do. And so it's an honor to have you on the show. And I look forward to seeing the next projects roll out, and I gotta hook up with some of that gear too. So
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna check it
We're
out.
gonna figure it all out. I'm excited to make that card for you. That's
Yeah,
gonna be exciting.
yeah, I'll talk to you about that for sure.
Definitely.
So, yeah, man, thank you so much for coming out today,
Thank you for having me.
and I this was a really, really I've got like 8 interviews lined up right now, and I was so excited for this one, and I know you were traveling, so thanks for taking the time for me.
Course. No, I'm excited. This is my first ever official interview, and it's very exciting. We're gonna make some crazy art together. The future is very bright for it's I'm excited. I think lots of great things are coming. So I
Nice.
really appreciate you for having me. It's been fun. It's been, there's no note card, there's no nothing. This is very organic, very authentic. These are, we're longtime friends. You're giving me a platform. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited to grow together.
Yeah, man. And you'll be on more than this interview, trust me. And always just be yourself. That's going to be all right. Cool, brother. All right, man. Have a great day. I appreciate you, Max.
All right, man.
Okay.
Appreciate you.